down.
We can do this all day, lassies.
I'm kind of going to say nice and quiet in the background and just not really say anything and nice and quiet.
I mutter, what is your problem with the Dalish?
Several weeks back, they started a bunch of crap in our town, and we're a peaceful
I heard
village.
you started the crap.
Not what? Not me. No. I'm just fighting for the village.
Dave, could I do a bluff check on that?
Absolutely. That would be a perception check.
1 second. I need to see my perception.
In fact,
And
let
I
me.
just turned my character sheet off.
That's no problem. You can give me a perception check.
It's a 0.
And in fact, you could probably give me a. Seeing that we are new to this game still, let's see. Let's see what kind
I
of.
failed my bluff check.
Well, you're going to be roll. It's going to be a roll off anyway, so it would be against his willpower. So let me see real quick what your roll was. It was an 8. So let me do a quick roll. Oh yeah, you definitely you definitely didn't do too well. Actually, do you have any bonuses?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, basically he's convinced that he didn't start it, although you can tell that he's just bullshitting his way through this conversation.
Alright, I step forward and I tell him, you need to back off. These ladies are under my protection, and that any harm upon them will result in your immediate demise.
I pull my spear and my shield out, and I start looking very, very menacing.
Can we do a intimidation to kind of
you can
bluff
give
them
me
out?
you can definitely give me a strength intimidation check. I definitely would like to see that.
I rolled an 18 on an intimidation check.
Dang.
Yeah, the 3 gentlemen that are with Koalon, they seem to say maybe we should just let them be, and he just kind of turns to them and says, "Are you guys being yellow bellies now?"
No,
And these guys
smart.
are just continuously, because they don't have any weapons. The only weapons that anybody has is actually Koalon with his smithing hammer, and that's not a weapon of war. So they basically just are looking to possibly persuade you into not helping the elf. Hey, what's up, Alexander?
So, what do you think, Colin?
And the other 3 gentlemen, they say, I don't want any of this, and they start to they basically walk right past you, and then they look back at Colin and say, come on, Colin, you're wasting your time. And he's all alone there, and the other 3 gentlemen just continuously to walk past you. They don't have any eye contact with you or anything, and they're just walking back towards Ventiver.
I wait for a response.
He just says that you need to watch your backs, and he steps aside, and he just kind of opens his arm and ushers you, and he says, after you, and he starts to walk back towards the village of Ventiver as well.
Do
He
we
walk past me when he walks back? Does he walk past me?
He walks past the entire group, because you all were on the road anyway, so yeah, he walks past you. He's on the edge. I mean, he's not walking through you. He's not, bumping into you or anything like that. He's just, he's holding his hammer, just sort of with his head down, and just stares over at you once in a while, and is continuously starting to walk back towards Ventiver.
at any point does he walk beside the elephant?
Well, at some point he walks past everyone, so yes.
I have a feeling Elephane might try and stab him.
As he does walk by, I will taunt him silently with a smile and another wink.
he just grunts and says a few knifier comments under his breath, and he just continues to sulk along.
As he walks past me, I hear his comment to Elephane and say, "How would you like if I introduced a knife to your ear?"
He just continues. He just shakes his head. You may have won the battle, but I will win the war. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't say that.
I throw my spear.
No, he just continues to walk back towards Ventiver.
I kind of I kind of start shaking my head, and I kind of do the motion for everyone to keep going, and I kind of just watch to see if he keeps on going back to the city or if he somewhat disappears, like into the woods or something.
No, he continues to just travel on the road, and a few of his counterparts they turn around, and it seems like they're starting to do a little bit of arguing as well amongst themselves.
So the path in front of us is now clear, is it?
It is.
As
This whole
we
ordeal
continue-
lasted about 5 to 10 minutes. So, like I said, it was only about a mile away from Ventiver, and it didn't really impede your traveling or anything.
I mean, as you can appreciate, as we continue going on, I suggest that we do keep an eye out behind us, just in case. But also suggest that maybe the wild-looking elf, Elephane, maybe take the lead to make sure that he keeps like a good eye in front of us to make sure that there's nothing potentially hazardous.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. Plus, you can give him the map as well. So.
Yeah.
All right. So the day goes by uneventful. You see a few, and actually, you see a Bronto off in the distance. I mean, the Bronto doesn't recognize you, but you see several other wolves. You don't see any type of dark spawn creatures. You just see normal animals of the forest. So you see a few bears, a couple large bears actually, and you try to steer clear of the big animals like the Bronto and the bears.
Do we notice any wild horses or anything?
You do not, unfortunately.
Okay.
Good try. That was a nice try, though. That was a nice subtle
I
try.
thought I would
but,
try sneaking that one in,
No hawks, nothing like that either. So
How about a
Random
small
wolf
white
puppies.
cat?
Yes, how about a Arctic snow leopard or something?
you guys definitely get an A for effort. That's for
You
sure.
find a mouse. The mouse crawls into your bag. You have a pet.
Okay, this is like a tip to anyone that's played the games. You find a mouse and it turns into a mage.
That's right.
And then that mage tries to kill you.
Well, you guys travel all day, and after traveling for most of the day, the group comes across the remains of the Dalish encampment. Not far off the tracks in the forest, the elves' colorful wagons are circled around the remains of a campfire in a shallow pit, long since turned to cold ashes. The carcass of at least one cart horse lies outside the circle of wagons, picked over by 4 scavengers, and the wagons themselves, as well as the debris scattered around the camp, shows sign of struggle. So there's your horse that you actually got to see for a day. So let me do something for you real quick.
I'll wait till hold on what I was going to do until you, I'm assuming, switch maps for us.
Yes, I'm trying to, but don't tell me that I lost a map. I'm going to be upset if that is what is happening here.
And which direction are we approaching from, sorry?
You are approaching from the left side of the map, which is the west. So I am going to set your tokens up for you real quick. You can place them as you wish. And after a few sessions, we'll take the name tags off of your tokens as well, once everybody gets the idea of what their token looks like. So
Yeah, and correct the actual spelling mistake on mine's name tag.
you are killing me. So this is the map of the Dalish encampment. You can set it at about 80 or so.
For some reason, I'm checking out a cart.
I'm going to look over at Elephane. This is what I was going to do, and ask her, can she see or sense anything in the immediate vicinity, or is it safe to enter?
Well, as you all look closer, because I'm sure as you guys get into the camp, and you notice that there really is nothing in visual sight. You don't hear anything, you don't smell anything, except for the dead horse. Upon closer examination, it shows there are some broken mugs, crockery, and an overturned iron cauldron that once hung from a tripod over the fire. A small amount of spoiled stew still sits in the bottom, but most of it is spilled and been consumed by the scavengers. So that's pretty much the only two things that you smell, is the culmination of the rotten stew and the horse.
What time of day is it?
It is dusk, so
I
the sun will be going down soon.
I turn and I ask Aziza if he can start the fire again. We might need it. And then I kind of walk off and go and search one of the carts.
Well, they're checking on the
there are no
Dalish
dead
elves.
Dalish
There,
elves
Chork.
laying around here anywhere?
No, there are not.
Okay, I will walk around the camp looking for tracks.
Okay, I want you to make a perception, and if you have tracking, please add in a +2 as well.
Alright, I'm going to walk over and try to start this fire.
One moment, I have to go let my cat in.
Meow.
I will mention to Elephane and to the other members, other party members, that as there are no bodies here, that is not necessarily a good thing. As you remember from the attack on our caravan when me and Aziza were actually approaching Bentiva, the creatures that attacked us turned into Dalish elves. So it could be possible that these elves here may be inflicted or afflicted with the same taint or curse that actually had afflicted those poor unfortunates.
Well, as you track the area for a little bit, you actually notice quite a few things, Aziza. You notice that some of the wagons show sign of being broken into, such as smashed or kicked in doors. There are hoof prints that show that most of the cart horses ran off at some point, probably panicked by the attack. So you can actually see how they had broken away from the actual all the hookings and cords that actually that they pulled the wagon with. You also notice that there are traces of dried blood in some spots, indicating that there was at least some wounded and a struggle. From the size of some of the spots, there were probably at least a few deaths, but not a wholesale slaughter. In spite of that, there are no elven bodies or remains at the campsite or the surrounding area. And also in one of the wagons, you do find some of the elves' valuables that do remain. There's mainly just some small personal items that have no monetary value, like heirloom jewelry and things like that. But you do also find 34 silver pieces in a bag as well.
Who is it that finds that?
That would be, I'm sorry, that would be Elephane, not Aziza. My bad. Because Elephane was looking around the camp, and he had actually made a pretty nice, successful perception check. So,
If I look at the heirloom jewelry, does it all look mundane in nature?
yeah, it just looks like of common and elvish ancestry. I mean, it doesn't look like it bears any kind of special meaning, or there's nothing regarding to the chantry that you would know of, or it's just just basic elvish type of heirlooms, which would any race would have.
And that is from him checking. Did he check all of the actual carts?
Yep, he sure did. You also find a few. There's some barrels with some water, so you can actually refill your water. The water's not spoiled. There's also some grains as well, but the grains have actually been spoiled because of the actual. During the attack, a lot of the crates had been busted open, so a lot of it had been raining the past several days as well. So a lot of the actual grain is basically mush now.
Are any of the covered carts kind of like serviceable, as in still in one piece? Would we be able to maybe use it as a shelter?
Yeah, you could definitely use put them together to make a shelter. That could definitely happen. Each cart is damaged, but in all reality, you could put pieces together from several other carts to make one good working cart. Maybe two.
I look to the stronger party members.
But then again, who's going to pull the cart if you do repair the carts?
It wasn't necessarily. It was just literally if we were going to be thinking of maybe staying here for the night. It was just to offer us some kind of shelter from the elements, and maybe any wandering creatures. Maybe that's all I was thinking. Not necessarily as serviceable as in, in order for us to actually be able to move.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's definitely enough cloth. Plus, there's quite a bit of brush around as well, to where you can, by the time the sun goes down, you could actually have a makeshift shelter for sure. It would be easy to do, especially with the scout here. Well, the ranger plus the Canary. Yeah, the two warrior types, they would definitely have it taken care of within no time.
Okay, I actually looked at Elephant and say, could you make this area as defensible as possible, please? And obviously, Alexandra, if you could maybe help with the heavy lifting.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'll do that for you.
I mean, sorry, I assume we are going to be staying here for the evening.
Well, we're not going to be traveling during the night, so we might as well.
Yeah, especially with all of the dark spawn that actually, over the last several months, the dark spawn have really started to come out in force, especially at night.
All right, I'll go around and gather up the broken barrels, whatever kind of pieces of wood I can, stack it up against this fire pit, and try to get her going.
Don't build the fire too high, because you'll just draw more attention to the area.
Yeah, true that.
Are there any small game around, like rabbits or birds or anything?
Sure, you can sense there's a couple small gamey animals that scurry through every once in a while. I mean, there's not a whole lot, because it is starting to get become night outside, so the sun is going down by the second.
I kind of turn and go, Elephant, after you're done defending the defensify the camp,
Take my shoes off.
All right, I'll go try to do that.
Yeah, you can get a rabbit or two. Won't even make you do a roll for that. You guys could have a nice dinner. You guys have been traveling all day. You've got pretty much unlimited water for this camp. You're in good shape. Found some loot. You found 34 silver. Man, you guys are rich now.
The question is, did he share it between us? Or is he going to pocket it all?
Ooh.
That is a good question.
Remember, Elephane found some stuff too. You guys don't know that, but actually, Elephane doesn't even have to say anything that he found anything, because he's the one that performed the search.
So, is it getting sort of like dusky?
It is. It is now. We'll pretty much say that it is night now.
And there's a fire roaring in the center of the camp.
Yeah, the fire's going. It's not a really large fire because
No.
I remember that Elephane and Aziza were talking about actually making a smaller fire so it wasn't noticeable from a much longer distance.
So we're all sat around having a nice meal of the rabbits that
You
Elephant
are.
got.
Brace of Cody.
You guys are around the campfire singing Kumbaya and holding hands.
I just kind of look at Elephant with kind of a slightly sad look in my eyes, and mention the farm that we came upon earlier in the day, and I kind of say, is that normal for the world? Is there normally that much suffering and death out in this world?
When Darkspawn are involved, yes, but normally no.
Well, I kind of look around.
You have the
party.
same hate and bigotry as you do every day, but not countless slaughters like that.
I kind of look around the party and I say, well, I would like to thank you all for
Aww.
the assistance that you gave
I thank you.
helping, especially
I thank
the
the
two
little
of you during the attack
2.3 pound baby
those
Jesus.
creatures attacked us.
The Chantry thanks you.
And that was aimed at Alexander and Elephant.
I kind of just bow my head. I don't really say anything, and I take a big bite of the rabbit I had.
Whoa, man, the juices are just so juicy, man. Elephant really cooked those good. You're just ripping the meat off the bone.
And
Did he skin them before he cooked them?
Of course he did. He's kind of just he put the tripod back up over the fire, and he's just kind of just like looking at you guys, just turning the rabbits, roasting them over the fire.
Are the two skins in any like good condition?
Oh, they're very tasty. He's been cooking
Like the
them for quite a
skin,
while.
not like the fur.
He took the fur off. Any normal person would take the fur off.
He
No,
wants to keep the furs.
I was gonna keep the fur and sell it at another time and back in town.
Oh, you can keep the fur if you wish. Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Absolutely.
and I glance over towards Aziza and say, I am aware a little of Aziza, but we have travelled together for a day now. I feel I can, to a degree, judge you characters, but maybe could you tell me a little about yourself to allay any lingering doubts I may have of you? Just tell me maybe a little about yourself, a little of your history maybe. I'll be more than happy to share a little of myself as well.
Oh man, look at these guys role playing the shit out of this game. I like it.
Yes. Trying to find this picture. Okay. I was born in the town of Deminer in the first year of the Dragon Age. Born to a
Whoa.
Bane
He's old.
family, the Fontaines. My father was a wealthy landowner, a money launderer who gained large farm base, cattle, sheep, and pigs, which the people who owned or had to pay the rent to the land would give my father in payment. Due to the fact that a lot of the people were poor, they now work for my father in his butcher shops, in his farms and fields. Me, growing up as a young man, forced to be a very astute and very studyful student or child, forced into manual labors of all shapes and kinds, not really knowing my mother or father after the age of 10, for my father became very wealthy. Somewhat of a greedy man. He had no time for me. My childhood
Ooh.
was fraught with
Ooh.
just playing in the woods, taking care of the horses, and playing with some of the young children who might have been part of the families of the young servants or people who come and go of the town.
Today, the day 19. Thank you for the follow,
At
sir.
the age of
I really
14,
appreciate it. Welcome to the community.
journeying through the forest and finding several places that would be a secluded place for me to study on my own time and to get away from the busy lifestyle of what my father and my family had became. Really worried about his disposition and his anger mannerisms of always wanting money, more money, more money. Never having time for me. Even do simple things as fishing, which I surely did enjoy loving to do. My childhood was that of a secluded, real pompous brat. I grew up not really caring for the lesser classes. The elves in particular, always forced to look down upon them.
Ooh. Ooh.
As I grew older, knowing
Everybody
in my
hates
heart
the
that
elves.
this was not the right way, and this is not how I felt about the people of the towns. As we grew more wealthy, and my father grown in his wealth, the plantations and the estate had grown. Many people had come and gone, but there was one young family that really caught my attention. It was the Shadais family, especially the young female daughter of one of the servants.
I want
She
to bang
was
her.
very kind to me and taught me a lot of things about the world that I did not know. When the people and the young children would mock me for being such a wealthy uh, young young squire, she would come to my rescue from time to time, telling the children not to be such a bully to me, that he is a kind-hearted young man. He's just set in his ways due to what his father has done to him. Being a strong young man, I had the
Whoa.
wills to fight off the bullies. Standing there in the streets with several mean kids, I've always gotten, looked upon as he's just a young, rich kid. Always got the silver spoon in his mouth. Well,
Today, the
following
day
these
19,
days,
you
my
can
father
actually.
and mother
We're only in our second game.
trying
So you
to
can
get their
go to the
attentions.
first game on my website,
With my
click
mother
on
always
Friday
out shopping.
Campaign,
My father always
Friday
at the
Dragon Age,
shops,
and you can watch the first
tending to this,
episode, and you'll be caught up.
people in
'Cause
the
this
fields,
is only our
and
second
always,
game.
always after the money.
Tomorrow will be our third game.
I became somewhat of a recluse, and sort of, most people would call me just a pompous ass. Knowing this in my heart was not the way I wanted it to be, I tried to change my ways. With long
Whoa.
hours of study,
Got a
I really
dissertation
leaned into
going
the
on.
books. Long hours of penmanship, learning the ways of the world through the past histories. I found my true calling, not knowing that what my father had become, a truly very unkind man. I was lost without him, and I never really had that father figure that I really needed. And it took lots of days for me to dwell
It
on
definitely
this,
does,
to
Evan.
come to the point of knowing who I was.
Smart
That I really
ass.
didn't need a family such as this, and I tried to make my way into the world on my own. Being only 14, knowing the ways of the horses, I decided to take one of the stallions out to the fields, and I sort of got lost several times, finding my way back after several days, knowing no one was missing me. It felt kind of strange to me that I'm a young, wealthy child of this town, but yet no one seemed to miss me. The days rolled by, generations came to be. That the one day that I did have joy and peace in my life was the times when I did run with the young girl through the fields, to the waterfalls, to the